All right, the last part of your review, part 3, we have 2 area problems, and then we have 2 factor and simplify or division problems. All right, so we start with the area ones. So we have an area of a rectangular garden is given by the expression 5x squared minus 18x plus 9. What is the width and length in terms of x? All right, so anytime that you're given an area problem, so you're given the area, and they're asking you for the width and for the length, all this really means is just factor. Okay? So what we do is we take the area, which is given to us, which is that, and we factor it out. So we do first and last, so 5x squared, and then 9 over here. We do ABC. A times C, which would be 5 times 9, which would give me 45. And then B goes on the bottom. Here we go into our calculator. 45 divided by x. 45 divided by x plus x. We're looking for negative 18, which would be here at negative 3, negative 15. All right, hopefully you're kind of getting the hang of the factoring if you haven't already. So x squared has to be x and x. 15 and 5 are the ones that are going to line up. 5 and 15 are both divisible by 5, so I can factor out the 5 up top. 5x times x gives me 5x squared. Then we do x times negative 3 gets me negative 3x. And then 5 times negative 3 gets me negative 15x. And then negative 3 times negative 3 gives me positive 9. So my factors, length and width, it doesn't matter which ones you put where, but you would just say length, just assign one, it doesn't matter which one. The reason that it doesn't matter is because, remember that length and width all depend on the way that the rectangle is facing, which we don't know which way it's facing, but we do know that one of these has to be length, one of these has to be width, your factors. Do the same thing for the 13. Again, it says area of a rectangle is this, x squared minus 15 plus 50, with the length of the rectangle being x minus 5. Determine the width in terms of x. So this one, they do give me a little bit more information. They give me one of the sides. There's no other way to solve this. I still have to go in and I still have to factor. Once I factor, obviously I don't name this one, I name the other one. All right, so what that means is, again, I do X box. Again, first and last, so we have x squared and 50. In fact, I think we've already worked this problem. In ABC, that's how I got the 50 and the 15. B is going to be negative 15. Like I said, I think we've already worked this one. That was negative 5 and negative 10. So we have minus 5x and minus 10x. When we factor this out, x squared is x and x times negative 5, and then x times negative 10 give me what I need. So again, my two factors here would be x minus 5 and x minus 10. But if we read the question again, it says the length of the rectangle is x minus 5, which is this one. Determine the width in terms of x. So the width has to be the other one, which would be x minus 10. So all we have to do is write width, x minus 10. That was my answer. So my answer here would be that width is x minus 10. All right, for the last two problems, 14 and 15, we have to factor and simplify. Now these are division problems, which we only did division for one day. But what I do know is anytime that a problem is given to me like this, I have to make sure that I rewrite it so that it's in the correct form. So whatever came first, that's going to go on top. And whatever came second is going to be on the bottom. All right, now if we look at the whole thing right now, we might be a little bit overwhelmed. So we never, ever, ever look at the whole thing. In fact, we're going to look at one side first and then the other. So I'm going to focus on just the top. If I look at just x squared plus 6x plus 9, that's something that I can factor. So off to the side, I'm going to go ahead and factor out the top. using Xbox. So again, first and last, we have x squared and we have 9. A, B, C. So A times C, which is 9. And then 6 down at the bottom. So things that multiply to get me 9, that add together to give me 6, that has to be 3 and 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 plus 3 is 6. So we have 3x and 3x. Again, this one should be one of the ones that's a little bit easier to factor. X squared is x and x. X times 3 gives me 3x, and then x times 3 gives me 3x. So my factors are x plus 3 and x plus 3. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go ahead and write equals. I'm going to go ahead and write the factors over here. I'm going to rewrite the top as those factors. Okay, and now we're done with the top. So now we focus on the bottom. On the bottom, we have 2x minus 6. Now with this, I can't go into the box, but what I can do is I can factor out a GCF. Guess I'll write it over this side, GCF. GCF, what's the biggest number I can divide 2 and 6 by? The answer to that is 2. So if I divide both of these by 2, I can rewrite that as 2 parentheses. 2x divided by 2 is just going to leave me with x, and then 6 divided by 2 is going to leave me with 3. All right, and so that would be the top, that would be the bottom. Now if I focus on just the top and the bottom, we have x plus 3, and then on the bottom we have 2, and then x plus 3. All right, so what I notice then is that I have a package. All right, so I always think about the parentheses kind of like a package. If they're in parentheses, then we can only get rid of that package by having that same package on the bottom. So up top I have a parentheses x minus 3. I can cancel that entire thing with the x minus 3 down at the bottom. Okay. Once you have your terms in parentheses, you should never take them out of the parentheses. Leave them in the parentheses the entire time. So my final answer here, in parentheses, I have x plus 3 up top, and I have 2 down at the bottom, and so that would be my final answer. With your final answer, you have to make sure that you keep, if it's on top, that it stays on top. If it's on the bottom, it stays on the bottom. So the 3, or the x plus 3 was on the top, so I left it on the top. The 2 that was left over was down at the bottom, so I left it on the bottom. Okay? We do the next one the exact same way. Again, first thing we have to do is rewrite this so that we have x squared minus 10x plus 21. And we have x minus 7 down at the bottom. And that one's already in parentheses, so I am not going to touch that unless I have that same parentheses to cancel out. All right, so once again, we focus on the top, then we focus on the bottom. So we're going to focus on the top first. X squared minus 10x minus plus 21. I can factor that out using the x box. So first and last, we have x squared, and we have 21. ABC, A times C is 21. Down at the bottom is my B. My B, make sure that you have the negative with it, so it's negative 10. And then if we list those factors out, we have, let me scroll back out. We should have negative 10 divided by x, negative 10 divided by x plus x. Second graph. We're looking for our bottom number. Oh, sorry, I did the wrong thing. It should be 21. Sorry, you always do the top number, even I'm messing up now. You always do 21. So 21 divided by x, 21 divided by x plus x. Second graph. We're looking for negative 10 on this side. Negative 10 is going to give me 7 and negative 3. Negative 7, negative 3. So negative 7x, negative 3x. Again, factoring this out, x squared has to be x times x. X times negative 7 gets me negative 7x. X times negative 3 gets me negative 3x. And the negative times negative is positive. 3 times 7 is 21. So my factors up on top, I can rewrite this as x minus 7, x minus 3. And then down at the bottom, So again, we always focus top, then bottom. On the bottom, there's nothing I can do. It's just x minus 7, so I'm going to leave it as x minus 7. And then once I do the top and the bottom, then I look at these together. So together I look at these. What I notice is that this package, x minus 7, will cancel out with that package, x minus 7. And I'm left with just x minus 3. And that's going to be my answer. Okay, so that was all your problems worked out for you. Good luck on your test tomorrow.